Hello YouTube, this is Video Game House once again with another deck profile video. This one, the start of Stellar Crown, Hydrapple EX. Since the release of the Hydrapple EX cards, like debut in pre-releases and such like that, and I saw it, I'm like, this thing is gonna be awesome. There are so many different variants of this card. I think this is my second favorite after testing. But I wanted to make sure you guys got to at least see this variant using the Grand Tree and Festival Grounds as our stadiums, rather than Area 0, which will be another video for another version of Hydrapple, so that way people can, you know, decide what they like the best. First things first, though, if you guys want to skip ahead and go watch just the gameplay video, you guys can jump to this time right here, and you guys can go just watch the gameplay so you guys understand it. Otherwise, you guys can hang out with me right here, and I'm going to explain a little bit of the concept of the matches and the gameplay of the deck. So, first things first, we got the 4-4-3 line of Applin, Dipplin, and Hydrapple EX. The Applins are grass type only because of the factor of it can be found using Bug Catching Set, but I've seen some players using the Dragon Set. Doesn't really make much of a difference, but I figured using the full grass line is just a little bit better because of Bug Catching Set being able to help you find those Applins if you can't find things like Buddy-Buddy Poffin to set up your starters. There are two types of Dipplin. One with Festival Lead, that if you have Festival Grounds, one of our two stadiums on the board, based upon your number of bench, one energy can attack for 20 damage times the amount of Pokemon on your bench, so you can hit up to 100 damage 2 times. So, single prize matchups give us that lead, because of Festival Ground being able to allow Dipplin to swing 100 twice helps in matchups like, what's it called, the Lost Box matchup, the Curlias, stuff like that, which allow you to just take on weaker Pokemon and take them all out very easily, very quickly. The new Dipplin is a special Dipplin that kind of leads you into early, like, game-winning formats if you play it correctly. The new Dipplin has a 20 damaging attack that states, if your opponent's basic Pokemon cannot do damage to this Pokemon on their next turn. So, if your board state is just a Dipplin, and your opponent is running Raging Bolt and Ogerpon, they no longer can hit you. So long as you're able to do that 20 damage every single turn over and over and over and over again, you can win the game by literally just doing that, and your opponent can never hit you. Because it's the effect of an attack that doesn't affect your opponent, so Mist Energy can't outplay it, Canceling Clone can't outplay it. Nothing can hit this guy so long as it's a basic Pokemon on your opponent's side of the field. Hydrapple. This is our big boss monster. Hydrapple's ability allows you to place a grass energy from your hand onto one of your Pokemon on the field, and it heals it for 30. This, if you think ahead in most games, allow you to basically stave off getting knocked out, even if it's close damage, and I'll show you during the video where that will happen. So you can use this to heal off that 30. I do make mistakes because I was still learning the list while we were playing this, so there is absolutely reasons as to why you want to use the plus 30 on certain Pokemon rather than on other Pokemon. Teal Mask Ogerpon is almost self-explanatory. With Teal Dance, you place one energy on him, he gains an extra energy, you draw a card. Congratulations, it's one more energy on board. Hydrapple's attack is 2 colorless energies. Realistically, you can use it in other decks. I don't know why you would, but it allows you to do 30 damage times the number of grass energies on the board. So, using Hydrapple's ability plus Teal Mask Ogerpon's ability, if your board state is just 6 Pokemon total and it's Hydrapple, Teal Mask Ogerpon, Teal Mask Ogerpon, Teal Mask Ogerpon, Teal Mask Ogerpon, you can effectively go 4 Teal Mask abilities, 2 Hydrapple abilities, and your manual attach for 7 energies played in 1 turn. Pretty cool. Mew is also in there because, again, you can use Hydrapple's ability to play energies on Mew, you can manually attach to Mew, and you can still use genome hacking to take out things like Mimikyu from its ability, or using your opponent's attacks against them. Obviously, it does help in certain situations. Teal Mask Ogerpon is also in there for the same reason. We were looking for an answer that allows us to deal with Mimikyu, and the 2 energy Ogre comeback is a fantastic way of just dealing with it. It's very simple, very easy. 1 manual attach, Hydrapple ability, congratulations, you can start swinging, and it's a single prize, which can mess up that 2 prize matchup, kind of like what Kind of like what Roaring Moon does, where there's the Roaring Moon EX deck that runs like 3 Roaring Moons, and then it has 1 Baby Moon in there because it just messes with the prize trade. So 1 Teal Mask Ogerpon helps with dealing with the single prize matchup and messes with prize trade a little bit. Following up, we just have the 1 Buddy-Buddy Poffin because realistically there's only Applin in the entire deck that it can be searched out with, but if you hit it in the early game, it's pretty solid. The one of Nest Ball is still for just searching Teal Mask Ogerpon or Mew, because Mew can't be hit with the Bug Catching Set, but Nest Ball can still bring it out, which does help you get those free draws or help you set up an attack with genome hacking, so pretty useful. We were having issues with certain supporters, so we put a Pal Pad in the list, so that way we're able to bring them back. But Superior Energy Retrieval, super useful. One of your big Pokemon get knocked out, you lose a bunch of energies, you Superior Energy Retrieval, get 4 of them back to your hand, and you're able to basically play them all back down, which is huge with this list. For each, like I said, for each energy, it's plus an extra 30 damage, so 3, 6, 9, 12, and you're adding 120 damage back to the board with Teal Mask Ogerpon to draw, Hydrapple to heal, and it's just pretty solid. Ultra Ball is obvious. Festival Grounds, like I said before, is just for the Dipplin. Grand Tree is our ace spec, which allows us to turn 1, play a bunch of Pokemon, and then turn 2, Grand Tree into evolving our Applin into Dipplin, and then our Dipplin into Hydrapple. But we still also run the Rare Candy for another option to just go Applin, Rare Candy, Hydrapple. So we can easily get multiple Hydrapples in a singular turn, and in matchups where obviously you're up against your opponent who doesn't have tier 2 Pokemon or stage 2 Pokemon, Grand Tree is just super helpful for you and not your opponent, which feels great, especially if they can't remove it. We're running a Lana's Aid. Again, it's allowing us to search Pokemon without a rule box, so Applin, Dipplin, and the Teal Mask Ogerpon can all come back to your hand, but really it's just meant to get 3 grass energies back to your hand. Similar to Superior Energy Retrieval, but without a cost, the only cost being obviously playing your supporter for the turn. But it allows you to still get those energies back on the board. Colress Tenacity helps with finding that Grand Tree, and an energy doesn't really make a difference. And then obvious Boss's Orders, Iono, Research, Pokégear 3.0, and Rare Candies, all normal stuff. But a fourth of our deck being grass energies, and it still doesn't feel like enough. There's obviously better ways to run this list. But I'll show you how well this list works on ladder play in just a moment. Let's get to it. Alright guys, and once again, this is a streamed event. We streamed this the day of Stellar Crown's release on TCG Live, and we run this back with increased speed. So if you guys see these guys in the little corner right there, this is followers from my channel on Discord. On Twitch. For twitch.tv/videogamehouse. It will be found in the description below if you want to join in, along with my Discord, in case you guys want to get updates for when we go live. You guys can challenge me. I do giveaways, stuff like that, so I hope you guys can join us there. But for now, let's get to the game. Our turn 1 looked pretty solid with Teal Mask Ogerpon in the opening space. Granted, we only have 4 Applin and 4 Teal Mask Ogerpon for our starters, so it's really, like, our starters feel really strong every time, allowing us to get extra draws, allowing us to get extra plays, and obviously just setting up 1 Ogerpon and 1 Applin is just a really good to start of the game. Our opponent was actually cooking in this first matchup with this Slowking Zatu list. Like, Zatu is to get the free draw power. There's the new Slowking that states you can put the top card of your deck to the discard pile, and if it's a Pokemon, you can use its ability, use one of its attacks as this Pokemon's attack. Our first turn was crazy with getting a Teal Mask Ogerpon and then finding 2 more Teal Mask Ogerpons and enough energies to energize them all to get more cards drawn. And I mean, our Iono wasn't fantastic here, but now we're just cooking with Ogerpon. The attack, the deck allows you to attack with both Ogerpon and Hydrapple. Hydrapple is obviously the one that does more damage, but Ogerpon can still come in clutch when it needs to. Obviously, with its ability, plus a Hydrapple, plus your manual attach, you can still easily set one up for, you know, quick, you know, attacks. Say against big energy Pokemon like Lugia or Iron Hands, like that need a bunch of energy to attack. Pretty solid play. He's also running Trade-in Purloin Liepard. So Liepard is Trade-in ability, which allows you to discard a card and you draw 2, just like Kirlia. And Zatu is playing a psychic energy from your hand onto the bench, draw 2 as well. Finally, we're getting into our Applins, and we are going to attack with our Ogerpon in the active, so I need to make sure there's an energy there. Bug Catching Set allows us to start trying to get somewhere, and we know we have Grand Tree in our hand. So we stop what we were trying to do and just get the Applin, the Hydrapple, so that way if we get a Rare Candy, we can go off, and if we don't get a Rare Candy, we can still use Grand Tree. We wanted to make sure we had at least one energy on our Applin, so I didn't want to let my opponent kind of work there. His Academy at Night allows me to place my tree back to the top of the deck, Iono to get it back into my own hand, and we're still able to keep going. I wasn't able to go any farther with that. Iono did not help me in that situation, but it disrupts my opponent, gives me the Grand Tree for a really good turn next turn by saving a card, and I'm still able to get my Hydrapple and a Dipplin into my hand, so I can still start setting up the way that I want to set up. If only I had a Rare Candy, I'd be able to get 2 Hydrapples next turn, but we digress. So here's that Slowking. You guys can pause it there if you guys need to read what it does. But basically, all it does is just say, discard the top card of your deck. If it's a Pokemon, use one of its attacks, so long as it's not a rule box Pokemon. And I think we're going to see right here exactly what that does. That was a Terrakion. That Terrakion has a special attack that when it's used, it does 120 damage. But its ability is prevent all damage from your opponent's attacks done to the Pokemon this card is used, but it doesn't allow you to use the same attack next turn. But you're not using that attack. You're using Slowking's Seek, I think it's Seek Inspiration attack. So it's not considered the same thing, so you can use a Terrakion attack every single turn, so that way your opponent can never hit you. By using combos of Academy at Night to put the card on the top, discard it, attack, Night Stretcher brings it back to your hand, and you put it back on the top, and you discard it, and you just keep reloading it. You'll have 4 Terrakions, 4 Night Stretchers, just to stop your opponent from doing anything. You guys can see the board. I can't do anything, so I put in a bigger HP, because 120 will not be taking this guy out, but it would take out the Teal Mask Ogerpon. Unfortunately, my opponent had the out with the Academy, had the out for the bosses to bring back the Ogerpon that's got hit, so doesn't feel fantastic, and my hand is looking pretty bleak, but that will not stop me. We have 15 energies in the list, and we're going to keep going. This match is unfortunately one of those matches that will take a very long time to go back and forth, which is why we're running the videos in a 2x speed, because it takes so gosh darn long just for things to go out. Also, this is broken as well. Obviously, TCG Live is awesome and very well implemented, where it states, when Festival Grounds is on the board, each Pokemon that has any energy attached to them, both mine and my opponent's, are recover from all special conditions, and I cannot be affected by special conditions. So right now, my Teal Mask Ogerpon should be awake, because it has energies on it, but it's just broken. So I try and recover by just bossing up one of my opponent's Pokemon and hoping for the best. I probably should have brought up Liepard, and then this is just what's happening. Just Festival Grounds just starts freaking out because it's trying to fix it and just won't. So that was fun. My opponent gets a switch, gets the out for my boss's orders, so it didn't matter. Festival Grounds still not triggering. My opponent just gets rid of Festival Ground, which again tries to trigger in the discard pile, still failing. Academy, my opponent uses Liepard, discard Liepard, drawing more cards. Iono trying to look for an out here. He's down to 11 cards, just milling his deck out. Finds the Night Stretcher so he can get Terrakion back, but to do all of this, he's, setting up other cards, trying to find options. The Academy at Night to put it back on the top, discards the top card of his deck with Terrakion, hits that damage and gets the knockout, but only takes 2 prizes off of it. And we have nothing else damaged. We have a 330 HP Hydrapple, and it's able to actually heal even farther than that, so we got our Dragon Applin just because, but free draw. We were just going for more playability because we still had Iono and plenty of energies left in the list. We find it, and we get that superior energy retrieval. Don't need Pokemon anymore. Get all of these energies, and now 3 Teal Mask Ogerpons, 2 Hydrapples, so I can place 5 energy in a single turn, and manually attach a 6th. So I'm just gonna start doing things and making sure that everything is ready to go for the next turn. Since he used Terrakion on this turn, I can't attack him for damage, so we're just gonna chill. We have every energy right now, so we got 2, 4, 6, 8. We have 9 showing energies, but we have 6 more in the list if you guys were looking at the list earlier. So many energies to play around with. I kept one energy in my hand instead of manually attaching because I'm able to use Teal Mask Ogerpon's ability next turn in order to draw a card. And we also have bosses in our hand, so we can still use boss words to bring another Pokemon up in case his Slowking is able to use the Terrakion attack again. He seeked inspiration to try and, like, volley a lucky shot, whiffed it, and now we're just kind of ready to go, and we're just going to keep going, set up another Teal Mask Ogerpon, so we're good to go there, and just swing in because since he didn't get a Terrakion attack to block himself, I was just able to punch him. Punished into another Grass Energy. So we had 5 in the deck, possibly less. He hits an Iono, so we're going 4 to 4. He's down to 9. I am down to who knows how many. Probably a lot more than him, though. Another discard for 2. He's looking for an answer. Clairvoyant Sense. He's going to play an energy for 2. He's just trying to find an answer. There's Academy with the Night Stretcher, and he's able to get another Terrakion turn. But I have no damage, so it's not like he can take a knockout easily. He'll protect himself. But I also have Hydrapple times 2, and I can heal that 120 off. So we're just going to use Hydrapple's ability, Ripening Charge, draw, and heal up. Our hand is kind of like dead at this point, so we're just looking at his board state, checking our own board state, looking at our hands, see if we can't find anything nifty. Find 1 energy here. Sweet. We can just immediately use it for more draw power because we can't hit him anyway, but we can just heal up. There goes another minus. We've healed for 60 with him only doing 120 per turn, and that's at best. Healing for 60 is a lot. We can actually also retreat now as well because we have a 3 energy retreat cost. That's Hydrapple's like biggest concern, is that 3 energy retreat cost is pretty bad. Fair, because the guy is huge, but still. He was able to get the Terrakion off, but he's only got 4 Pokemon left. But this is why we have, 4 cards left, sorry. But this is why we kind of have all this set up now. We actually have 3 Hydrapples, and in just setting ourselves up allows us to just, you know, as long as I'm able to protect my Hydrapples, set up my attacks, it comes down to just him decking out in 4 turns, and he cannot take enough prize cards fast enough. He can only do 120 damage, and so we have 120 or 150 HP left on the bench Hydrapple, so he would need to boss it up, add 30, and take a knockout. We're tied, so he can't use Defiance Band, can't use Choice Belt, so I was not really worried about anything on that particular motion, but when he found out he had, I assume he had no more Terrakions left, because he had no way of finding, he just didn't have it. Alright, continuing forward here, we got our next round on, I believe this was ladder? I can't quite tell. I was doing friendlies, so in case anyone wanted to know that, we do also do friendly matches, so we can try and get some good games in as well. This is, yeah, I think this is a friendly. Alright, let's see where we go from here. We got a pretty bad mulligan, opening 2 Applin. Not awful, but it's also not great. There is a few changes that were made during this stream. What you guys saw was the final product of the deck list, so you might see more cards. Like, as you can see, the Dragon Applin was in the original build, but I figured it wasn't as good, so I got rid of it in the end. So there was positive and negative changes that we made throughout the course of the deck list, but it more or less ran similarly, if not the same. So it's a good idea. I forgot this one. This is the Regidrago Galvantula list. This thing was cooking. I think that this is a wonderfully fun deck to play, but it just hits so many walls way too easily. You're only ever going to have maximum 2 Terrestrial Pokemon, and it's either going to be Joltik Terrapagos or one of the 2. And if you get rid of the terrestrialized Pokemon or stellar Pokemon, Terrapagos or that Galvantula, and they don't have a backup, then Area 0 doesn't work for them. If you remove the stadium, now they have to remove a bunch of cards, but they can't remove the Terrapagos or the Galvantula, because then if they get another Area 0, it won't work with their ability, so they have to negatively keep a Terra Pokemon on the bench for Area 0 to make enough room. But right now, like I'm saying right now, he has to now make a decision what to get rid of. He had to keep the turtle and get rid of Regidrago, which is not good. Luckily for us, we were able to Grand Tree ourselves directly up to Hydrapple. We have an energy still in hand and a Hydrapple ability still being able to be used here, so we're still able to get our energies down in order to attack, and it gives us 180 damage very easily. Grand Tree just on 2 is just so nice. So now, like you see, if he doesn't have Area 0, he has no reason to have this Terrapagos, and if this Terrapagos is on the board, he can't get all of the Regis on the board, and if he can't get all the Regis on the board, he can't use Regigigas' ability, which allows him to get energies back from the discard pile onto his bench, or onto his Pokemon. The idea with this list is that you use Area 0, set up 8, and then you could have all of the Regis on the board and 2 extra Pokemon, and both of them basically being Galvantula or Terrapagos. Then you use Galvantula's attack for 180, discard all of your energy. Your opponent can't use items next turn. But with Regigigas on the board, you're able to then reset the energy. So you can just item lock your opponent and deal 180 damage every single turn, and it's pretty solid. Unfortunately, it's just really easy to get rid of it because Area 0 under depths getting removed by being like somebody playing a stadium, Lost Vacuum, the removal of an EX Pokemon, all of that is just a thing. Literally, what we're looking at right now on this board state is his only Terra Pokemon. So if we actively knock out Dipplin here, we win the game, but... well, we would have been able to remove the Area 0 Underdepths ability because he wouldn't have had any room to place an EX Pokemon. Luckily, though, we just found Festival Grounds. So, I was looking at this, and I do remember this now, but after the fact, I realized that I would have actively had enough energy to take a knockout on this Terrapagos. Because if I retreated the Dipplin, I had enough energy to do 240 damage, I believe, which was knockout worthy. But I bloody didn't. I didn't do the math in my head fast enough, so I just went, oh, just do the wave, hit the damage, whatever, moving on. But now he still, again, has to deal with Festival Grounds, and he has to deal with the Dipplin I have, and not having a full bunch of Regis, and he's down to 5 cards, so it's like, what do you do to fix this situation if you don't find Area 0 Underdepths? You don't have a Joltik, so you can't evolve to Galvantula. You don't have room on the board, so you can't get all of the Regis, and it's just putting him in a super bad situation. The Terrapago, like, the option to win in the matchup between the Regis and the new system with Area 0 is either removing the stadium or removing the Terra Pokemon. Because without the Terra Pokemon, he can't have 8 on the bench, and without having 8 on the bench, he's just not able to get anywhere. So we kind of maneuvered around that thought process, and it just basically ended up winning us the match. And again, we have a Teal Dancing Ogerpon for an extra draw. We have 3 Hydrapples for healing. We have all of this value and just setting up energy. I don't even know how many energy I just put down this turn, but I think I've used 2 Teal Mask abilities. I think I still have a manual attach. I have an ability, and I don't even need it. I have that much value on the board in terms of damage with Hydrapples. I don't even need it. Hydrapple just being a tank at 330 HP is absurd. Oh no, there's a Regigigas with a Luminous Energy. I can't take a prize for knocking him out. What am I supposed to do? Oh, boss's orders, bring up Terrapagos game. And again, the deck just suits up so much damage, and it feels so nice. I was trying to get more energy. 4, 8, 10, 12. We have 12 out of our 15 energy, and I just wanted to... People who know me, it's just big damage go burr. So my peanut brain just goes, throw as many energy on the board to deal more damage. And it's funny every time. Alright. Another ladder match. I believe this one was ladder matched. You will go first. Thank you. Also, this deck does like going first a little bit better than going second. The supporters that I have don't really effectively change the board state all that much by it just resets your hand. So if I can go first, it's better because I'm able to use Colress Tenacity on 2 to get the Grand Tree to make something evolve all the way up. But because I went first, I have energies on the board already, so it allows me to attack and do other things. Me just trying to worry about what I can do here because we have the double Applin, so we have double Dipplins. We Teal Dance into an energy, Teal Dance into an energy, and then Teal Dance into a third Applin, which I thought was just hilarious because we can still Rare Candy Hydrapple if best case scenario. But it was a solid play. It was just like, you can risk it with this so easily to find an energy because you have 15. I've seen a lot of decks running anywhere between 15 and 20 energies, so I know there's like 20 different variants of this list. I personally like the Area 0 one. I think it's a little bit stronger because you can have 4 Teal Mask Ogerpons on the board, and then you have enough room to just set up a bunch of other Pokemon for defense. Since you run Rare Candy, you can run Pidgeot, but this works. This one is simple, and it worked, and I liked it a lot because it still was able to put up that 300 damage if I just felt like doing it. My opponent is running Dreepy, so he's running the Dragapult. It looks like there's Charmander, so we got Dragapult, Charizard, Pidgeot EX lists. Got that Evo into the double Dracloak. Unfortunately, our board is not super great. We don't have more energies, we don't have any hand resets. We just have 2 Hydrapple. So next turn, we can evolve both of our Dipplins into Hydrapple, but we're just going to be aiming to sacrifice the Applin we have on the active. I think this is where my opponent makes a massive mistake, and definitely not something that's used to be seeing. He throws Iono out when I have 2 cards in my hand, and he saw that I did nothing last turn. So that was just like a huge win for me, because I just needed something with my hand, and luckily, he gave me quite a bit to work with. This is the new Dragapult line that people are using, the new A-Spec, the Sparkling Crown, I think it's called, or something like that. All in all, the A-Spec just states, the Terra Pokemon this card is attached to, its attacks cost 1 energy less, and it can be any energy less in order for it to work. So, you know, he just has 1 fire energy, so he uses the Crown as a psychic energy and hits for 200 and starts setting things up as a 1 energy attacker. My board state is now 4 Teal Mask Ogerpons. And now we're just looking through to find something. Finds a Hydrapple. Yay. I have an energy as well. Also yay. We're just able to just kind of cook here. We have to make a decision, and we know we want to attack this turn. So we're hoping on the best case scenario. Didn't want to throw Festival Grounds in case I found a Grand Tree, but with that Iono, we are just absolutely cooking. We need 2 energies here. We still have 2 energies. We have another Bug Catching Set. Free evolution. Doesn't even have to do anything. Ripen Charge. Still haven't manually attached. We Hail Married this turn because we needed every single energy to trigger in order for us to get enough damage to take out a Dragapult. And we hit every single energy that was needed to get that damage to 330 and takes that knockout. 4 Teal Mask Ogerpons, a manual, and 2 Hydrapples for that 7 energies placed in a singular move, and we had exactly enough to take out Dragapult. Knowing that I have that much damage to take out Dragapult, and that Charizard is still weak to Hydrapple, everyone knows, but Teal Mask Ogerpon is still strong enough with just 3 energies to take out Charizard. And we're at the prize map where it's a little bit more difficult for my opponent because he still needs to take on 2 prizers in order to get the win because of the set that I have. I have just two prizers and we win the game, so I can take on his... Oh, there it is. It's called the Sparkling Crystal. That's what it's called. So he knows that I have to just deal with another Dragapult. There's a Pidgeot right there, a Luminion right there. So I have options in order to just beat him up. And he knows he can't get enough energies out. Easy clap. Just that 7 energy drop into 330 was awesome. Just felt good, you know? Just felt good. And we're going into our next game. And that's not our best opener. It's okay, though. We did get our Buddy-Buddy Poffin, which we are main decking, which is great. And then we got 2 of these. All right, cool. Another energy, you know. Cool. Just another energy. I have 6 energies in my opening hand. It's pretty good. It's pretty solid. I tried to set up the Ogerpon in case I could, if I needed to make an attack, it would work. But I didn't want to make an attack. But it was, at the end of the day, we were trying to figure out what we can do. This is making weird strides right now. Like, I've seen Cloth a couple of times on ladder, and I'm not quite sure why. it hasn't successfully won, but I also can't understand what the prospect of the new Stellar Crown gives this. So, you know, it's beyond me at this point. My opponent punches my Ogerpon, but it was, again, just a single prize loadout. I don't expect to find anything good here, so we just kind of hope for the best on draws. We got a Rare Candy. We got another Dipplin, and we just swing the 120 because of weakness, and that was just enough to get rid of a Cloth. Unfortunately, Cloth being unlike Dragapult, Cloth needs only one double turbo, and he already has the Brute Bonnet and the item in order to set poison up, which allows Cloth to do more damage. For those of you who may not know, Cloth is a double turbo energy that states if your Pokemon is hit with a special condition, it's able to do an extra 160 damage to its already 30 damaging move, so it's able to double turbo a 170 damage, while also poisoning your opponent. Very easy setup, and it's a single prize list, so it's also very, very strong. And right now, the Colress Tenacity allowing them to find a free stadium, which allows them to find town store, and an energy, double turbo. The Forest Seal Stone, which can be played on a Electrode, which, with the proper stadium, poisoning, and Radiant Sneasler, and an attack, the Electrode can attack for 0, but with all of the poison stuff set up, it hits for poison for 50 more, so it's like hitting for 150 damage in best case scenarios. We were able to Rare Candy and evolve, and now we're just trying to draw through, hoping for something else to land. We were able to find this, since we already had our Dipplins already out and Rare Candies already out. We didn't really need anything more here, so we just needed the Hydrapple, which allows us to go, haha, we now have Hydrapple. We healed from we used our Hydrapple to heal our damage off from the poison, and we evolved to get rid of poison, so now we're at full HP, 330, and we have enough damage to just knock everything else out. I played Grand Tree to get rid of his stadium, but this is where I kind of forget how Grand Tree works. Grand Tree only targets a basic Pokemon that can evolve, and then targets the evolution Pokemon that can evolve again. Unfortunately, if it's already a stage 1 Pokemon like Dipplin is, you cannot target Dipplin to just make it evolve into Hydrapple. You must only be able to target Applin. So I made a small whoopsie, and it could have given my opponent some value if they had a basic on the board, but they don't. So we didn't have that many issues. The Colress experiment my opponent just threw down right there did throw me for a loop, but it is another option. If you use Colress as a draw option, you're able to throw things away, and then you can easily get out Cramorant, which allows you for another single prizer that hits for 110 damage, which is a solid count. So it does work, just not as good. My opponent is setting up a Cloth in order to do that damage. He's using the Mochi, which I believe sets it to 210 plus poison, so it is able to hit for 220. Unfortunately, that is able to take out Ogerpon very easily, which is not bueno. We are going to try and outmaneuver the damage a little bit, being able to still take out knockouts, still move Pokemon around. Teal Mask Ogerpon can get more energies on the board. Hey, a boss's orders. We have 3 prizes left. Let's just get rid of Pheasantipity so he can't draw more things, and we're down to a singular prize. And all we need is 1 energy on our Hydrapple, and we can win. Which we have Iono in hand to hopefully draw, but now it's a little bit more spooky because I got poison. That is also an issue. The Ursaluna that came out of left field for free attack can hit for 240, plus he's freely able to poison me, and he Ionos me to 1. Looks like we got a Pokemon gear. This was a wonderful addition to the deck. I felt like I was not finding my supporters as fast as I needed to, so hitting that just felt great. Unfortunately, I think we needed research here, and I think we only ran 3 in the deck at the time, and it did make bad things happen. We should have boss here, but I think we voted into an Iono because my opponent could not attack next turn. So I wanted to hit the Iono to try and get that draw 1 and set my opponent to 3. So maybe it gets somewhere, because then you'd have to use the barrel and everything's away. I needed an item here. It wouldn't let me have it, so I'm just like, oh, that's not good. I'll put Applin on the bench. That was not a good idea because I don't have a way of getting a third Hydrapple because one of them just got knocked out. So, not great. Or one of them is removed, I believe. So my opponent can't do anything here, and we just have to hope on the top deck, and that is never a fun sign. But the deck came through in this one. I think that it definitely could have done a little bit better, but the poison boosting cloth does 210, so it already knocks it out without the poison, but min damage is 220, so there's a way to get cloth to do a little bit extra. It's crazy. Looking at the board state, my only option was putting Hydrapple to the active, because if I find an energy, I win. If I don't find an energy, he hits me, doesn't knock me out. We try and stall with this. It needs 3 energies to retreat, so hopefully we're trying to find something. I think my opponent ran out of switches. I think he switched 2 or 3 times this game, so he must be out of switches. That's my thought process. So he's just looking for energies, I think, to get the Brute Bonnet out to manually retreat it. Yeah, 3 switches. I don't believe he runs more than 3 switches. But he only used 1 double turbo so far, so there's a double turbo, and he's able to find another one with Colress Tenacity, and there's a Legacy in there as well, so he still has another double turbo somewhere. He's just removing things. But all we need is that 1 energy, and if we Brute Bonnet's also weak to grass, by the way, so 1 energy hits for 90. We hit that research, and everything just goes our way. I think I just made a small miscalculation there. I needed 2 energies to hit for 90 in total. So, but that's okay. Teal Mask Ogerpon, manual attach, Hydrapple ability, and we are just cooked. Just bump game. Here you go. Here's some other stuff. You know what? We can also look for it. We can get another Teal Mask Ogerpon. Research coming in clutch. Just giving me all the damage in the world and hitting for 360 for a knockout for our last prize. GG. Hydrapple cooks. So my final thoughts on Hydrapple is that it is a very powerful deck. It is very strong due to the factor that Hydrapple has so much HP that you can set up an evolution very quickly. I think there are better variants than the one that I have, I do admit. I honestly would say play around with it, find what you think feels good. And if you guys want to put in your list, I would love to see a better Hydrapple list. I want to make this. I want to use this in real life on my actual locals events. So if you have a very good list that you think is really strong, feel free to hit up my Discord and punch it in the deck list channel. I would love to see it and test it out. The deck does really well into things like the Roaring Moon lists. It does really good into obviously Charizard. You saw it do well into Dragapult because it was able to quickly just get as many energies as it needed to take a knockout, but they cannot do a reverse knockout because you have 330 HP. So it works super well into a lot of the matchups right now that are high on the ladder. Even Regidrago it does well into because you're able to just set up a bunch of energy on the board and still hit that big damage even over like Rolling Iron or even using the, I don't know, there's just so many different things that the deck can do well into, but I do feel like there is a better, more optimized version of this that I will be finding and showing you guys off later. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys like and subscribe and do all that jazz. All the information for the deck list and the stream and the Discord is down below. So I hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys next time.